Hey there, pirates. Welcome aboard the Anime No Me channel. Everyone always thought Shanks was just that cool redhead who saw a brave kid and thought, this kid's got potential. But now, after everything we've seen in the latest chapters, I'm starting to think there's more to it. A lot more. In fact, maybe Shanks didn't leave his hat with Luffy just because he thought he was a nice kid, or because he saw Roger's spirit in him. Maybe, just maybe, Shanks purposely chose Luffy to carry the title of Sun God, knowing exactly who he was from the start. Sounds crazy? Yeah, but if you put the right pieces together, it's starting to look like Shanks has been involved in all this for much longer than we thought. I hope for your support to help our crew win, and to do so, you just need to click the thumbs up button, leave a like, and subscribe to the channel. By doing this, you will win an incredible devil fruit, so just comment which fruit you want. First off, the Gorosei themselves said in chapter 1044 that Luffy's fruit isn't the Gomu no Mi. It's official now. The fruit is the Hito no Mi, model Nika. And here's where the detail that changes everything comes in. This fruit had been protected by the world government for over 800 years, and they could never make it awaken again. It kind of eluded their control. Then, out of nowhere, it ends up in the hands of pirates who steal it. And who are these pirates? Shanks' crew. Chapter 10:18, Jinbei versus Who's Who. In this chapter, Who's Who tells us he was imprisoned precisely for letting the Gomu fruit get stolen while transporting it to the government. He worked as an agent for CP9, but he didn't know exactly what happened, only that the theft was so important that he lost his position, got imprisoned, and has carried a deep fear of that fruit ever since. Up until then, fine. But if you look at chapter 1 of One Piece, Luffy himself eats that fruit inside a bar in the village, while Shanks' crew is nearby, just chilling, and Shanks, he only notices later, supposedly. But let's be real, Shanks is one of the most aware and careful characters in the series. He can sense when someone's haki changes in fractions of a second. He's the guy who walked into chapter 1054 and stopped Ryokugyu with just his conqueror's haki, from a distance, mind you, while literally on the other side of Wano. Do you really think he didn't notice that Luffy had eaten one of the rarest, most cursed fruits that the government was desperately trying to hide? I think he did. And more than that, I think he knew exactly what that fruit did. And for some reason, he let Luffy keep it. And here's the question that's been on my mind. Why? Why would Shanks, with all the responsibility he carries, his insane haki level, and the experience he has, let some random kid from East Blue eat one of the world's most dangerous fruits? Maybe, and here's my guess, he was looking for someone to carry out the will Roger couldn't fulfill. And maybe that person had to be exactly someone like Luffy. Not just for his courage or his spirit of freedom, but for something even deeper, a connection to the ancient god. In chapter 1044, when Luffy awakens the fruit, even Zunesha hears the drums of liberation. It says, I can hear, he's back, Joy Boy has returned. In other words, it's not just a strong fruit, it represents a legendary entity, someone who lived centuries ago and carries the flame of world liberation. And here's the detail that gets me. Shanks was on Roger's ship. Shanks saw what was in Laugh Tale. Shanks saw the treasure, saw what Joy Boy wanted to do, and also saw that Roger wasn't the right person for it. Maybe he also realized he wasn't the right one for it. So he started looking. Now, let's go back to chapter 1. Shanks had been in East Blue for a long time. He could have been anywhere else in the world, but he was in one of the calmest and least important seas on the planet. Why? Maybe he was looking. Maybe he was observing. And then he found Luffy, a stubborn, hot-headed kid who said he wanted to be Pirate King. But more than that, someone who wasn't afraid. Someone who challenged the impossible. Someone who smiled even at the edge of danger. And maybe, just maybe, that made Shanks think this kid might be the heir. In chapter 1054, when Shanks looks at Luffy's wanted poster with the image of Nika smiling, he doesn't seem surprised. He seems satisfied, like he's thinking, it's time. As if he knew this moment would come. I think he was expecting this awakening. And maybe he's been waiting for it since the day he saw Luffy eat that fruit. And now, I want to bring up another detail that not many people remember. In chapter 907, Shanks enters the Gorosei's room alone. The only pirate we've ever seen do that. He walks in calmly, like he's done it before. And the Gorosei, the 5 supreme leaders of the world, receive him like someone important. Not as an enemy. That's not normal. That means Shanks has a level of respect, or fear, or an agreement with them that no one else has. And here's the thought. What if Shanks has always been in the middle? Not pro-government, not anti-government, but keeping an important peace. Keeping the sun god. I think Shanks kept Luffy off the radar for a long time. After he lost his arm and left the hat with him, he never got close again. He just watched from afar. He knew when Luffy started making noise in the world, but he didn't interfere. Maybe to avoid drawing too much attention. Maybe to let Nika grow naturally, without pressure, until finally after the awakening, he appears again. And that's when he starts moving the pieces. Maybe Shanks' plan was never to be king. Maybe his plan was always to put the world in the hands of the true liberator. And for that, he needed to find someone who could carry the spirit of Nika, someone who carried the right smile. And he found that someone in that little kid at the bar, kicking pirates and saying he didn't need help. Maybe Shanks saw the same smile there that Joy Boy carried. Things get even crazier when we remember the Elbaf mural legend. That story about the original world, the Flame Mother, and the sun god that the enslaved peoples begged to come and free them. And what if this sun god, Nika, isn't just a symbolic figure, but actually a role that has to be taken on? A title, a mantle, a mission. What if Shanks knew about this because he read it in the poneglyphs, because he saw it in Laugh Tale, and decided to wait for the right moment to pass on this mantle to someone? And that someone would be Luffy. I think Shanks not only knew about Nika, but maybe he was the guardian of that legend. The guy who protected the fruit, kept it out of the wrong hands, and put it in the hands of the person he believed could carry the sun. And Luffy, without even knowing it, was shaping up to be that person. He's been getting more and more like Joy Boy with each arc. More than that, he's been uniting people, freeing nations, knocking down nobles, facing dragons, and smiling all the way through. If that's not the start of the Sun God's legend, then I don't know what is. So, looking at all this, it's hard to keep believing that Shanks' presence in Luffy's life was just a happy coincidence. Everything points to him never having been just the charismatic redhead who saw potential in a brave kid. In fact, what's starting to come into focus is the image of someone carrying a huge burden. The burden of knowing the truth behind the world, the erased history, the poneglyphs, Joy Boy, and the Sun God's mission. And more than that, the burden of choosing who could inherit that mission. If Shanks really was involved in stealing the Hito Hito no Mi model Nika, then it wasn't out of greed or coincidence. It's because he knew exactly what that fruit represented. He knew it was the key to bringing back not just a great power, but an ideology, a broken promise that's been lying in ruins for centuries. And if he gave that fruit to Luffy, directly or indirectly, it's because he saw not just strength in him, but the right spirit, the spirit of the liberator. And then, everything starts to fall into place. Shanks' silence all these years, his distance, the way he watched from afar, but never interfered directly, it was as if he knew the flower had to grow on its own, that Nika needed to bloom naturally without being forced. Because maybe if it was pressured too much, or guided with a heavy hand, the awakening wouldn't happen. Patience was needed, faith was needed, and when Luffy finally awakens the true power of the fruit, Shanks appears. Not as an enemy, nor as a hero, but as someone who's always been on the board, moving the pieces calmly, waiting for the right moment. And when he looks at Luffy's wanted poster, smiling with the form of Nika, there's no surprise, just confirmation, as if he's saying, it was him, it's always been him. That was today's content. We hope you liked it and want to share your opinion on the subject. Don't forget to share the video, give it a thumbs up, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care and stay amazing.